I am Michael, a voice of clarity, a blade of light held steady between shadow and dawn. Come close, beloved ones. Hear this not as thunder from a distant height, but as a hand laid upon your shoulder, steady, warm, and true. I do not speak to frighten you into obedience. I come to remind you of what is already true, that you are made of courage, fashioned for movement, held within a vast and loving order that does not abandon the small or the weary. You live in a world of tests and treasures, of trials that carve you, and of tender mercies that heal you. Both are necessary. You are being tempered. Your heart is being taught to choose again and again. Love over fear. Service over self-absorption. Truth over comfortable illusion. This choosing creates the architecture of your soul. Each decision, each small bravery, is a brick laid in the temple of who you are becoming. I will speak plainly. The path forward is not always easy. It is not always kind in the shape of immediate outcomes, yet it is always honest. To walk it, you must first stand in your own light. Stand in your light. Let go of the stories that have convinced you you are less than you are. The world will hand you many narratives, some intended to protect, others designed to control. None of them are the whole of you. You are more luminous and more flawed and more sacred than any label. The truth of your heart is not negotiable. It exists whether you acknowledge it or not. When you stand in it, you become a beacon for others, not by force, but by presence. Courage is not absence of fear. It is faith in the sun's return when the night seems endless. It is the willingness to take one more step forward when your hands shake and the map is worn. Courage is a daily practice. Begin again every morning by speaking to the small doubts. I will try. I will act. I will be kind. Let these be your mantras. Even the smallest action done in truth ripples outward. You are not alone. There is a vast company of beings unseen to the eye, but felt in the quiet places of your heart, who stand with you. We are not here to do your work for you. We are here to support, to clear, to strengthen. When you ask for aid, we respond not with interference, but with alignment. Ask with intention, not in panic, but in the calm steadiness that knows it is worthy of assistance. Call for protection when you must. Call for courage when your knees tremble. Call for clarity when choice clouds the mind. We will answer. Often, the answer comes as a sudden quiet, a tilt of circumstance, an inner nudge toward the next right step. Forgiveness is a battlefield and a bomb. Forgiveness is often mistaken for weakness. It is not. It is the most formidable strength you can wield. When you forgive, and I mean truly forgive, you release the poisoned rope that ties your hands to the past. Forgiveness does not mean erasing what happened, nor does it mean condoning harm. It means choosing not to carry the harm like a ballast that drags your spirit under. Begin with yourself. You have made errors. You have failed. You have faltered. Stand before your mistakes with steady eyes and say, "This is not my whole story." Make amends where you can. Make peace where possible. If the external world does not repair what was broken, let your inner heart be repaired anyway. That repair is the seed from which your future grows. Learn to honor both your inner boundary and your compassion. There is a balance to hold between openness and wise restraint. Love is not a free fall that annihilates your borders. Healthy love has form. It knows when to lift its hand and when to lower it. If someone's presence strains you, do not mistake your protective withdrawal for cruelty. You are steward of your own energy. You can be fierce and tender at once. You can hold the boundary firmly and still pray for the one beyond it. Your compassion does not require sacrifice of your dignity. Do not mistake busyness for purpose. The modern world confuses motion with meaning. You may find yourself exhausted, not because you are doing too little good, but because your actions are scattered and reactive. Purpose is a compass, not a crowded itinerary. Find the one thread that makes your heart quicken, not merely what others admire, but what births life in you. Pour your small, daily acts into that thread. Let 100 simple, consistent offerings to that purpose become your legacy. The divine does not measure you by volume, but by fidelity. Fear will try to argue with your calling. It will tell you the lies of not enough talent, not enough time, not enough love. These are shadows, and shadows cannot stand where the light is held steady. When fear speaks, name it. Say, "You have a voice, but you are not my guide." Then step toward the small action it resists. The world rewards not the grandiosity of intention, but the persistence of follow-through. Remember the power of small rituals. Rituals orient the soul. They are small anchorings that bring you back from distraction into the present. Begin your day with a breath, a short prayer, a minute of gratitude. End your day with 3 truths you can celebrate, no matter how small. Light a candle for clarity when choices confuse you. Carry a stone or write a line in your journal. Or whisper a vow to yourself. I will align my actions with love. These are not superstitions. They are scaffolding. They remind the mind and body that the heart intends to be faithful. Surrender does not mean inaction. There is a sacred partnership between surrender and effort. Surrender asks you to do your work with all the strength you have and then to release the need to control the outcome. This is an alchemy of trust. You labor with skill. You pray with humility. Then you give the results back to the greater current. This is how the human and the divine dance. Work hard, rest well. Leave the rest to the unfolding dot. Practice presence. People crave presence more than presence. The greatest gift you can offer another human being is your full attention. Presence heals more than words sometimes can. When you listen without rushing to answer. When you look into another's eyes with the patience of one who knows suffering, you are ministering. Teach your children to be present by being present with them. Teach your elders to be honored by truly hearing them. Presence is the currency of genuine connection. There will be loss. Grief is not a failure. Grief is the heart's proof that you loved. Do not let anyone define a timetable for your mourning. Cry when your soul needs to. Lamentation has its own sanctity. Seek the shelter of those who will sit beside you in silence rather than insist on cheer. Know that the arc of mourning often softens into a sacred reverence, an internal altar of memory from which gratitude and wisdom eventually arise. Allow your grief to be what it is, and it will become a doorway to deeper compassion. Cultivate truth-telling, starting with yourself. The first lie that binds people is the small self-deception. I will be okay without this reckoning. Truth is not a weapon when wielded with love. It is a medicine. Tell yourself what you need to hear. If you are exhausted, admit it. If you are craving love, speak it. If you are angry, own the sting in a way that does not become a cudgel against others. Truth clears the fog and aligns your life with integrity. Remember the unity of all life. You are intertwined with the soil, the water, the song of birds, and the dreams of those you have not yet met. To harm another is to harm yourself. To heal another is to be healed. This is not an abstract metaphysical idea. It is a law of living systems. When you feed the hungry, when you protect the vulnerable, when you save a speck of beauty from destruction, you are tending the same web that supports you. Act as a caretaker. Stewardship is devotion in everyday clothes. Practice humility without diminishing your worth. Humility is not self-abnegation. It is clear-eyed recognition that you are part of the whole. Humility invites learning, which invites growth. When you are wrong, admit it. When you are right, say it gently. Let your victories be tempered with gratitude to the unseen helpers, the teachers, and the circumstances that shaped you. Pride seeks worship. Humility seeks service. Love fiercely. Love without calculation. Love that gives its time, its attention, its protection, and its forgiveness. Love that refuses to tally receipts. You will sometimes be hurt by those you love. That is the human condition. But do not build your life around the fear of this hurt. Let love be your compass. It will not lead you astray if you combine it with wisdom. Act with justice, not compassion. Without justice can be a salve that masks the wound. Seek justice, not vengeance, for those who are oppressed, unheard, or marginalized. Speak for the voiceless. Use what influence you have to lift up those who cannot yet lift themselves. Justice is an expression of love in public form. Choose peace and cultivate the weapons of peace. I am known as a warrior. Understand what that means. Not a thirst for battle, but a readiness to defend what is sacred. Your weapons are not arms, but virtues, courage, discernment, perseverance, and fierce love. Use them to defend the weak, to shelter the broken, to confront injustice. Stand in peace, but be prepared to act. Develop a practice of discernment. Not every path that glitters is light. Discernment requires time, prayer, and stillness. When a choice appears, ask, does this align with life, with truth, with compassion? Wait in silence until your inner compass quiets. Wisdom often arrives as a small, steady whisper. It may not shout, but it will not contradict your deepest goodness. Honor the mundane. There is holiness in the small chores of living. Washing a dish with attention, making a bed with tenderness, cooking a meal with gratitude. Too often, people chase the dramatic and neglect the wholly ordinary. Live so that even your smallest tasks become offerings. This reframes life. It turns duty into devotion. Be brave in your relationships. Real intimacy requires risk. Let others see the imperfect parts of you. Allow vulnerability to enter your speech as honesty rather than shame. Ask for help. Offer apologies. Build trust slowly and honor it fiercely. Relationships are the crucibles in which souls are refined. They will show you both your shadows and your light. Receive both with courage. Pray with precision and with the heart. Do not recite prayers as if they are incantations divorced from feeling. Prayer is an alignment of your will with the greater will of love. Pray for clarity, protection, courage, and guidance. Pray for the strength to act on the answers you receive. Prayer without action is a closed circuit. Prayer that opens you to action becomes a channel for grace. Live as a teacher and a learner. Teach what you know to be true in small ways. Mentor those younger in spirit, in practical things, and in ways that encourage their growth. At the same time, remain teachable. Pride freezes learning. Curiosity holds it open. Ask questions. Be willing to change your mind when evidence and compassion demand it. Celebrate beauty. Seek out things that uplift music. Poetry, sunset, the laugh of a child. Beauty is a language of the divine. It reawakens hope in hearts that have grown numb. Guard time in your life for wonder. It keeps your spirit supple and your courage young. Be patient with process. Not every seed sprouts immediately. Not every prayer has a visible result at once. Some transformations take seasons. Do not be tempted into impatience or into shortcuts that compromise your values. The slow work of becoming is often the deepest work. Trust the rhythm of time. Keep your mind governed by truth, not rumor. Words spread quickly, but they are not all true. Do not contribute to confusion. Speak what you know. Inquire about what you do not know, and withhold judgment until you have clarity. Your integrity in speech is a protective force in the world. Commit to repair work when you hurt another intentionally or unintentionally. Do not hide. Take responsibility. Repair when possible. This is messy and humbling work, but it liberates you and the other. There is grace in a heart that can say, "I was wrong. How can I make this right?" Make amends where you can, when it is impossible. Offer a sincere apology and a changed life. Protect children and the vulnerable with urgency. Children's store scars for lifetimes. If you have access to safety for the young, use it without hesitation. Advocate, shelter. Teach them the language of courage and compassion. The future of the world is made in the hands of those who care for its smallest. Members, practice gratitude as discipline. Gratitude reshapes perception. It does not deny suffering. Rather, it trains the heart to find footholds of grace, even in pain. Each night, name what you are grateful for. Let gratitude be the lens through which you review your day. You will notice the abundance that was always there, shining like embers beneath the ash. Seek wise counsel. The solitary hero is a myth for most deep human work. Surround yourself with trustworthy advisors. Invite accountability into your life. Those who love you well will tell you hard truths in the gentlest ways. Who these people are may change in different seasons, but always keep a few whose counsel you value. Honor your end and the end of others with dignity. One day, your work here will conclude. Live so that you can step toward that ending without bitter regrets. Make peace with those you love. Say the things that matter. Plan, pray, prepare when others approach their end. Offer them presence, comfort, and respect. A dignified passing is a gift to both the one leaving and those who remain. Do not be afraid to be ordinary and holy at once. greatness often hides behind ordinary acts done with faithful hearts. The world remembers the big gestures, but the soul knows the small ones. A gentle word, a meal shared with attentiveness, a letter written from the heart. These are the quiet miracles that stitch a life of meaning together. Embody resilience. Resilience is learned by surviving hardship and choosing to soften rather than harden. It is shaped by routines that sustain, by relationships that hold, and by convictions that guide. When you are knocked down, name your center and rise. Each return strengthens the muscle of your spirit. Celebrate community and accountability. Cultivate a small circle where you can be fully seen and fully loved. Celebrate in it. Weep in it. Speak honestly. These circles become laboratories of transformation. They will hold you when you falter and cheer you when you stand. Ask for help without shame. There is no shame in being human. The world is designed for interdependence. To ask for help is to acknowledge both your limits and your trust in others. This humility creates depth in relationships. It binds you to others in reciprocal care. Keep learning to forgive those in power when systems harm. It is easy to burn with righteous anger. Use that fire to fuel action for reform, not only to consume your peace. Demand accountability. Work for change, but also practice an inner release that spares your soul the slow poison of hatred. You can fight with righteous means and still protect your inner sanctity. Love the earth as your kin. Treat the ground beneath your feet as a relative. The health of your body, your community, and your future depends on the wise stewardship of this planet. Small, daily practices, conservation, care, respect, multiply. Teach your children to love nature. Repair what you can. Advocate where needed. The earth is a sacred trust. Keep it. Make your life a prayer in action. Prayer is not only spoken, it is enacted. Let your choices be prayers. The lunch you prepare, the time you give, the cruelty you refuse, the love you offer. Every act becomes a syllable in a large and generous prayer that continues beyond your visible life. Know that courage begets courage. When one person stands for truth, others find permission to stand as well. Your brave acts, however humble, create a cultural and spiritual momentum. Be that first light. Let your courage multiply. Finally, beloveds, do not underestimate your capacity for transformation. There is no soul beyond redemption when it honestly turns toward change. I have witnessed countless hearts shift from bitterness to benevolence, from despair to song. The divine's patience is fast. Your inner revolution begins with a single, deliberate act of alignment. Make that act today. Speak to your doubt with tenderness and firmness. I am willing. That is the vow that opens doors. Then act, move, speak, forgive, repair, rest, rise, love, repeat. Each iteration builds a life that matters, not only in headline moments, but in the quiet sum of faithful days. I stand beside the courageous, the grieving, the repentant, and the joyful. I am not a principle of vengeance, but a guardian of the sacred, of truth, of love, and of the soul's right to become. You are held more fiercely than you imagine, and more gently than you fear. Walk forward with the blade of discernment in one hand and the lamp of compassion in the other. May your feet be firm on truth. May your hands be instruments of healing. May your heart be wide enough to hold both sorrow and joy without losing its center. May you be fearless in goodness, relentless in kindness, and tireless in hope. Go now in peace. Act with bravery. Love without counting the cost. Live so that when the day comes for you to lay down your burdens, you can do so with a smile that carries the echo of a life well loved. Asterisk, I am Michael. Hear me not as a distant echo, but as a steady presence at your shoulder, a clarifying light, a firming hand, a call to remember what you are made of. I speak in a tone that both warns and comforts, that sharpens and soothes. Come near, breathe with me. Let the pulse of these words find its way into the secret places of your heart, and let them organize the chaos into clarity. You are not accidental. You are fashioned by the same source that fashioned the sun and the sea. There is a wisdom that knit you together, a sovereign, gentle law that holds you when you feel broken. This is not a promise of ease. It is the promise of purpose. Each life is a vessel for a specific work of love, sometimes small and quotidian, sometimes heroic and world-changing. The task before you is to remember the work assigned to your soul and to live it. Courageously, stand now in the knowledge that your life is meaningful. Do not allow the noise of the world to reduce your days to meaningless motion. The world will applaud spectacle and volume, but spirit values fidelity. A single faithful act repeated across years is of more consequence than 1,000 errant fireworks lit, gestures that mean nothing. You are made for faithfulness. Begin there. Courage is the first virtue I call you to cultivate. I am known as a warrior, but know this: war is not my delight, it is my instrument. Your warfare is not against flesh alone, but against what suffocates the soul. Fear that paralyzes, narratives that diminish, systems that profit from the smallness of others. Be brave enough to name the fear that haunts you. Speak its name aloud. When you do, its shadow shrinks, because the light of naming changes it into something you can address. Fear will offer you many counterfeit protections. The story that you are not ready. The chorus of later that anesthetizes action. The comfort of stasis painted as prudence. Resist these tricks. Start with the small courage. Pick one task today that fear keeps you from doing, and do it. Let action be the antidote to paralysis. Courage begets courage. Do one brave thing, and the next will be easier. This is how mountains are climbed. One step, then another dot. Stand in your truth. There is an inner law, a precise compass within you that will not mislead when you learn to listen. Many live by the loud voices, culture, expectation, the aisle of obligation. These voices are not all evil, but they are not all yours. Return to the still point where your truth resides. It speaks in a calm register, a quiet insistence that will not shout, but will persist. Once you find it, align your steps to it. Integrity is the architecture of a soul that will not be easily shaken. Forgiveness is a strength, not a surrender. To forgive is to remove the fetters that bind you to what was done. It is to reclaim the energy spent on bitterness and make it available for life. This is especially true with yourself. You have carried regrets as if they were personal identities. They are not. They are events you survived and lessons that can serve you. Make reparations where you can. Say the necessary words, and then lay down what you cannot change. This laying down is not forgetting. It is the liberation of the heart. Remember, mercy is not weakness. Mercy is the highest form of courage because it chooses life for both the injured and the injurer. When you forgive, do not mistake reconciliation for immediate restoration. Boundaries may remain. Forgiveness does not require the removal of protection. You can forgive while also declaring, "This is not something I will welcome back into my life." Mercy and prudence can and should walk together. Honor your boundaries. There is a dignity in guarding your life, your time, your heart, your attention. Many have been taught that love demands total availability. That is a distortion. True love includes. Children learn to respect boundaries by seeing them practiced. Lovers learn to take care when boundaries are honored. If someone's presence drains you, honor that signal. You are steward of your spirit. Steward it well. You will be tempted to confuse busyness with purpose. The world rewards motion. The soul recognizes meaning. Ask yourself not what you can be doing, but what you should be doing. Find the work that aligns with the deepest stirrings of your being, not the task that promises fame or external validation, but the work that makes your spirit stand up straight when you do it. Serve that work with daily acts, small, consistent offerings of your time and clarity will outlast impatient bursts of frenzy. Discernment is a necessary muscle. Not every opportunity is a vocation. Not every open door is the doorway meant for you. Discernment requires silence, a pause to breathe, and willingness to wait until clarity arrives. It will speak through consequence, pattern, and a deeper rightness that does not come with frantic noise. Cultivate stillness. Go into places of quiet, even daily, and listen. The inner light will guide you if you cultivate ears to hear. Presence is the gift you can practice today. People are starved for attention more than they are for gifts. When you give your time and attention, you are giving something holy. Presence heals. Presence gives dignity. Put away the divided attention. Look into the face of the one before you. Hear their words fully before preparing your response. This practice will transform your relationships more than 1,000 clever words. Pray with intention and act with precision. Prayer is not a place to hide, but to align. There is a partnership between heaven and the willing human heart. Pray for courage, clarity, and compassion. Then act as if the answers have already come. Prayer that divorces itself from action is an echo. Action that divorces itself from prayer is adrift. Let them meet. Let your prayers fertilize the soil of your doing. Sorrow will come. Do not be ashamed of it. Grief is the currency of love spent. It proves that you were not indifferent. Allow the mourning space and time. Beside such sorrow, haste is no friend. Let friends be present in silence. Sometimes, the one who mourns does not always need counsel. They need a shoulder and a hand that will not hurry them through the sacred process of loss. Take up the work of justice. Love that looks inward and neglects the systems that produce suffering is incomplete. Advocate for the weak. Use your influence, whether great or small, to rectify wrongs. Speak for those who cannot yet speak. Your acts of justice are prayers made public. Do not confuse anger with justice. Let righteous indignation be a fuel for organized, compassionate action aimed at restoration, not revenge. Guard your speech. Words are instruments that can both wound and heal. Speak what you know to be true and withhold what you do not. Gossip is a river that takes you and others downstream into cheap cruelty. Let your speech be measured. Say necessary things with kindness. When you must confront, do so to correct and restore, not to crush. Your words carry a weight. Carry them with responsibility. Cultivate humility. Humility is not the erasure of worth. It is the clear recognition that your life is not the center of all stories. It frees you to learn. Humility says, I do not have all answers, and that frees you to seek counsel. A humble heart enlarges, pride closes, and calcifies. Model humility in apology. Model it in willingness to change. Teach it by example to those who watch you. Be fierce for the vulnerable. There is a particular love for those who cannot defend themselves. Children, the elderly, the broken, the marginalized. Defend them with your words, your money, and your presence. Sometimes defending requires confrontation. Speak the truth to power when power abuses. Sometimes it requires compassion. Be near those who are shunned. The arcs of mercy and courage meet where advocacy is done with love. Practice repentance as restoration, not as shame. When you err, and you will, meet the error plainly. Repentance is returning. It is changing course. Make reparations where you can. Do not retreat into cowardly rationalizations. The soul grows most in the honest reordering of life after a failure. That reordering builds character. That character is the truest currency of an honorable life. Make room for wonder. Do not make your life all efficiency and utility. Wonder renews the heart. Watch the sunrise as if you have never seen it. Listen to a child laugh. Read a poem slowly and let the lines live in you. Beauty is a sacrament. It nourishes the spirit and re-educates the heart to see good again. Be patient with the unfolding. Not every season is a harvest season. Some seasons are for root growth, for quiet strengthening, underground. Plant faithful seeds, water them, and let the slow work of time do what time does. Impatience tempts you to compromise, to take shortcuts that unravel later. Trust the rhythm of becoming. Long obedience in the same direction yields fruit you could not manufacture in a day. Embrace small rituals. Spiritual disciplines are not empty rites. They are scaffolding for interior life. Simple acts, a short morning pause of gratitude, a nightly inventory of 3 things you are thankful for, a weekly hour of silence anchor you. They are not legalism, they are liberty. They remind the soul that life is more than a to-do list. Protect your consecrated rest. Rest is not laziness. It is a necessary replenishment for creative and moral energy. You would not ask a sword to cut if it had never been tempered and sharpened. Your soul likewise needs rest to be effective. Take the Sabbath in your own way. Let your rest be holy. Practice discernment in technology and distractions. Much of your attention is stolen in slices. A look here, a scroll there. Guard your attention as you would guard a priceless treasure. The soul is shaped by what it repeatedly beholds. Make choices about what you allow into the chamber of your mind and heart. Cultivate friendships where truth and love are both practiced. The best friendships are those where you can be honest without being judged, where you can be gentle without being overlooked. Keep a small circle that knows you deeply and holds you accountable. Celebrate with them. Confess to them. Allow them to rebuke you when necessary. Teach and be taught. Everyone you meet offers you a lesson. Everyone you love will teach you patience and humility. Likewise, be willing to pass on the wisdom you have gained. Teach not to be vainglorious, but to be useful. The passing of life's practical and spiritual knowledge from one generation to another is how the world is kept humane. Lead by service. If you hold positions of influence, lead as a servant. Authority wields best when tethered to humility and the welfare of those served. Power without service corrupts. Service without power becomes ineffectual. Fuse them. Let your power be a channel for service, and your service be the proof that your power is rightly used. Do not neglect your body. The temple of your life is not only a metaphysical idea. Your body houses the soul's work. Eat with care. Sleep enough. Move. Honor the vessel that allows you to live and to love. Bodily care is not vanity. It is stewardship. Keep your memory an altar, not a prison. Remember the helpful lessons of your past, but do not let pain become an identity. Memory can be a guide or a chain. Use it wisely. Chronicle your lessons and keep them as maps, not burials. Be courageous about joy. Joy is not frivolous. It is an honoring of the goodness that still exists in the world. Let yourself laugh. Celebrate small wins.